It's story time, it's story time, dun 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 dun. It's story time, dun 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 dun. Mad About Madeline, The Complete Tales by Ludwig Bemelmans. Madeline. In an old house in Paris that was covered in vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. In 2 straight lines they broke their bread and brushed their teeth and went to bed. They smiled at the good and frowned at the bad. And sometimes they were very sad. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines. In rain or shine. The smallest one was Madeline. She was not afraid of mice. She loved winter, snow, and ice. To the tiger in the zoo, Madeline just said, "Poo poo." And nobody knew so well how to frighten Miss Clavel. In the middle one night, Miss Clavel turned on her light and said, "Something is not quite right." Little Madeline sat in bed and cried, her eyes were red. And soon after Dr. Cone came, he rushed out to the phone. He dialed DAN. Of Dan Taunton 6. There she said it's an appendix. Everybody had to cry. Not a single eye was dry. Madeline was in his arm, in a blanket safe and warm. In a car with red light, they drove out into the night. Madeline woke up 2 hours later in a room with flowers. Madeline soon ate and drank. On her bed there was a crank. And a crank on the ceiling had the habit of sometimes looking like a rabbit. Outside were birds, trees, and sky, and so 10 days passed quickly by. One nice morning Miss Clavel said, "Isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline?" Visitors from 2 to 4 read a sign outside her door, tiptoeing with solemn face, with some flowers and a vase. In they walked and then said, "Ah," when they saw the toys and candy and the dollhouse from Papa. But the biggest surprise by far, on her stomach was a scar. "Goodbye," they said, "we'll come again." And the little girls left in the rain. They went home and broke their bread, brushed their teeth, and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavel turned on the light and said, "Something is not right." And afraid of disaster, Miss Clavel ran fast and faster. And she said, "Please, children, do tell me what is troubling you." And all the girls cried, "Boo-hoo! We want to have our appendixes out too." "Good night, little girls. Thank the Lord you are well. And now go to sleep," said Miss Clavel, and she turned out the light and closed the door, and that's all there is. There isn't any more. It's pretty nice. Okay. So we have our nice little house. It's very pretty. I'll give it that. And we have our 12 little girls. If you can actually see, the only one that is different here is it's actually pretty obvious when you look later. Recognize. So we have Madeline here in this corner. And I think she's in the lower left. Here we go. So she's supposed to be, yes, in the lower left corner. So This is Madeline. This is Madeline. Notice how her hair changes. This is Madeline. Black hair. This is Madeline. Blonde hair. Here we have a very lovely scene. These scenes are actually very famous, of them walking in Paris. I hope you could see those very well. Here we have another very nice scene, also very iconic. And here they're leaving. I guess if they're walking like this, Madeline is here with blonde hair again. And rain. And sunshine. And here she has red hair. And here she has blonde hair. And here, I'm not quite sure which one she's supposed to be, but honestly, I think it's supposed to be this one because she's actually looking at the camera and you can see her the best, and she has red hair. And here is her, obviously, red hair. These are also very notable. In the author's notes, actually, the river is running the wrong way. Very interesting. He actually never knew this until he went to the actual river. And again, we have our girl. She's crying. Here's our doctor. He's dialing Danton 10-6, excuse me. Talking to the nurse. Everybody had to cry. And he carries her away. We have an ambulance scene with the Eiffel Tower. We have some flowers. We have the crank and the rabbit. The rabbit's also sort of familiar to people with Madeline. We have the sunshine. Nice day. I do love this one. The one nice morning Miss Clavel said, "Isn't this a nice day to visit Madeline?" I mean, isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline? Like, can't really do the said, but he rhymed it that way. So I thought that was kind of neat. Here we're at the hospital. Here we go. She has blonde, weird. There we go, blonde hair. And they're all sad. This is a really interesting detail that I like. Let me see if I can get you guys to see this. Are pretty sad, upset. And Miss Clavel, she's gracious about it, but obviously she probably knows something's wrong. Like, if you look at her face, she's not so happy. And again, recap. This is very nice. Same rhymes and everything. This is an interesting scene where she's running down the hall and then she's running faster because it's just like she's pretty much here and then like there. So she's like, oh no. And that worried face. And they're all sad. And very famous line at the end. That's all there is, there isn't any more. I have no idea. And that's Madeline.